Welcome to Swish and Flick, an all Potter podcast.
Swish and Flick. Everyone? Swish and Flick.
Hello and welcome to episode 140 of Swish and Flick. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Megan.
I'm Katie.
I'm supposed to be Sarah, but I haven't actually been able to record with my friends in a very long time.
So you don't feel like a Sarah?
I feel like I'm ready for us to all be on one internet again, recording.
I'm ready to see faces with the microphones that are in front of me. They look very sad.
Yeah.
Can you draw pictures of us and just tape it to the back of the chair?
Now I'm going to. Know what I'm doing tomorrow.
We should make heads of each other, so when we're not together, we can look at them or have them in the seats. So Tiffany can look at ours.
So great.
I need that. So this episode is sponsored by Liz Goddard. Thank you, Liz.
Thanks,
Thank
Liz.
you.
Thank you.
Today we will be discussing the first half of chapter 13 of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Detention with Dolores. And then I added this little tidbit in. It didn't slip past me that chapter 13 is also the first Detention episode with Dolores. So I went and looked up what the number 13 means. So the biblical and prophetic meaning of the number 13 is associated with Jesus's suffering. So according to the Bible, the number 13 can be seen as a number of rebellion. Actually, the first appearance of this number in the Bible is associated with rebellion, and we see it in Genesis chapter 14, verse 4, and that is from angelnumber.org. Isn't that interesting? The suffering part, at least.
Yeah, that goes along with, that one time we talked briefly of, Vinny comparing it all to religion and stuff, so that would be cool to add in.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So make sure that you have read that chapter and you're ready to putz your way through the details. So before we begin, Megan has Weekly Prophet.
I do. So probably by the time this comes out, most people know about this, but we're kind of ahead on recording with all of our free time.
Maybe someone doesn't, Meg, and
Maybe
you're gonna
someone
make
doesn't.
their day.
Well, J.K. Rowling has released a section of WizardingWorld.com called Harry Potter at Home, which is pretty cool. So first of all, she lifted the copyright for the books for teachers and whatnot, which is neat. In case there were teachers that were teaching her books, they could record themselves reading it or they could read it live. So that is cool. However, they also created a hub, kind of, on WizardingWorld.com, and it has, quizzes and word searches, different illustrations. It tells you, it has the sorting ceremony there for you to do. It also has little, how to draw sections. So, one of them is how to draw an alchemy. Cool. Yes, Sarah.
Did they give us a search button?
No.
Oh, I hear it. Let's
For true? For true?
No search. Still.
I'm going to sip literal tea on that.
They also have a little crafting section, though, which is kind of cool. They did just post one the other day on Instagram that was a little broom ornament.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
So that's cute. It was just, out of clay, I think.
But
then they have more. They have a little scarf one, and then they have, if you have the Vans, they teach you how to, make your laces spell out R for Ravenclaw and all of that kind of stuff.
What?
Yeah.
On your shoe?
Yeah.
That's
Which is
really
kind of
neat.
cute. So it's just little craft things, little quizzes. It just helps you teach Potter at home, which is neat. So
Very cool.
I'll take it away with Tiffany.
Katie!
Tiffany.
It's time for the recap.
Thanks, ma'am.
Welcome.
Okay, last time, double potions. Oh boy, Harry's favorite. And Snape must have really missed being mean to him over the summer because he gives Harry a very unfair 0, while everyone else who screwed up, just like Harry, got to turn something in. Sounds right. Divination isn't much better, and then Defense Against the Dark Arts really seals off a pretty awful Monday, or whatever actual calendar day this is. because we know that that is never a real thing. Harry ends up getting detention, but McGee, she's kind of maybe a little proud of him. I mean, he gets to eat like 5 biscuits, so.
Biscuits are great.
Right?
Oh, sorry, guys. My back is hurting me today because I'm old now.
What are you, 80?
Almost. 50 years and I'll be there.
Oh my god.
So people are talking about Harry at dinner, and they're not even trying to hide it. So obviously that's annoying, and they decide to leave, they being Harry and his friends, Ron and Hermione. I don't know if you guys know this. Those are his friends.
Actually, but thank you very much.
What?
And poor Ron, because they leave during dessert and he's sad. So they head back to the common room where you know that Harry's like desperate for them to basically like shut up. Because he's like, can we just do our homework so you don't bicker anymore? Thanks. And then the twins are trying to test their product on some other students. Hermione's not pleased with it. But, you know, they're paying them. So it's like, what's the harm, you know?
Yeah.
And then Hermione's also planting knitted hats. Quote, that's what she's calling them. They don't look like hats. Under things so that the house elves will be picking them up whilst they're cleaning, unbeknownst to them. And they're all gone in the next morning. So, look, it must be working. It's another day of classes. Thankfully, there's no Snape or Umbridge, but unfortunately, there's no Hagrid either, which I just find rude. Just rude.
It is rude.
And then Angelina is not pleased, to say the least, that Harry is missing the tryouts on Friday because he's got detention. And then Harry does ask Umbridge if he can skip it, and that's a hard no, dude. Like, that's not going to happen. But she gives him a special quill to write his lines with that, you know, you just have to do lines until you drain all your blood.
Ugh.
Oh, all right. You know
she really
who
wants
loved that
message
quill?
to sink in.
Oh, wow. That's a great joke. Oh, are we ready to start this super pleasant chapter?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be
Okay.
the best one yet.
Mm-hmm.
This chapter?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, guys, it's my
yeah.
favorite.
I would say that the best has yet to come.
Oh, that's a great song. And babe, won't it be fine? I will say I'm splitting a ton of these chapters. So when I'm reading through them, so if you don't know how I do it, which I don't know if anybody really does, I skim the chapter and go through and I try to break it apart. And then however, like I kind of gauge how long each section is and then I'll split it. And this one is a doozy, I will say. And a lot of these chapters, I mean, we know it's the longest book out of all of them, but these chapters are so long. So, Swishers, it's just more content for you.
This is
Let's
true.
be honest. We
Yeah.
talk enough as it is, even in shorter chapters. So, like,
Yeah.
in order for you to listen to our episodes without it being, like, trying to load, you don't
30 hours of it.
Yeah.
If I were to be on the very like the smallest amount of time end for this chapter, it would have been us discussing it for 4 hours, and that's if we started on time, didn't mess around and all of that, and that never happens. So
Right.
that's why they're split. Anywho, let's get going. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. So dinner wasn't the usual pleasant affair that night. You know, dinner at Hogwarts is usually fantastic, but the news about his fight with Umbridge traveled really fast throughout the school, much like, you know, every other piece of gossip or news about Harry or anything at Hogwarts. Everything, news travels fast. That's just the way it is. And I've also shortened Umbridge to because I don't want to write Umbridge every time. So if
Umbridge?
Can you say it though, like,
Yeah, I know, I can do that. Okay. So there's whispers around him as he sat eating with his besties. And the whispers were not really whispers, though. It's almost like they were trying to get a rise out of him and get him to say something because of how he acted in class. So people were saying, he says he saw Cedric Diggory murdered. He reckons he dueled with you-know-who. Come off it. Who does he think he's kidding? Perlease. Very, very 90s. Right?
Please.
Hermes. Oh my gosh. He thinks he's the chosen one.
But I am the chosen one.
Oh my god, I love that line. So it got his blood boiling. Like, he doesn't understand. In his mind, after he came out of the maze over the summer, it was only 2 months ago, mind you, if you're thinking about this, he thought that everybody believed what he was saying.
Yeah.
He thought that everybody believed his story. He thought that everybody believed Dumbledore. And Hermione has to set him straight with what's actually happening outside of what Harry was experiencing with Dumbledore, because you have to think, at the end of 4, Harry's taken by Judy, Dumbledore follows after and all of that. They're all doing their own thing. But if you have to think about it, we're not thinking about what everybody in the Quidditch pitch or at the maze was dealing with. You know,
Right.
Was Cedric still on the field with his family, you know, laying there? What's everybody saying? What was everybody experiencing? And stories start to form and everybody's confused. So it's like we go with Harry and we think about what Harry's doing and everything that he's doing, but we don't think about what everybody else is doing.
Right.
Go for it.
Well, too, like, if you think about it, you know, a lot of those people probably don't know Harry at all. So, like, Harry's thinking, yeah, I'm telling the truth, so why?
him.
Well, like, he's thinking, like, I'm telling the truth, so why wouldn't someone believe me? Because I'm being truthful and being honest, and this is what happened.
Absolutely.
But, like, in real life, people lie all the time.
Absolutely.
So they're thinking, like, why should we believe him? Because we don't know if he's being honest or not. He could just be saying these things. And then with all the months of the prophet coming out and saying all those things against him and against Dumbledore, and having Dumbledore, like, sacked off of all of those things that he was doing, not teaching or not being headmaster at Hogwarts, you know. So they're thinking, well, you know, yes, the prophet's saying that, but he's, like, no longer on the Wizengamot, and he's no longer on this. So, like, there must be some truth to, like, what they're saying, that they're both crazy, basically.
Well, and even going back to 4, like you were saying, it was months of buildup with stories from Rita Skeeter about him.
Yeah.
And the things that he was doing and how he was unstable. And, you know, she always talked down about Dumbledore anyways. You know what I mean? Everything was starting to fall apart in year 4, especially at the end. And especially at the Ministry with, you know, Barty Crouch Sr. going missing and all of that. Like, things were just starting to completely shatter.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Setup.
Yeah.
and Harry, you know, he's not thinking that, like you said, you know, it's literally true what he's saying. So why shouldn't people believe him? So all summer, he's, like, not thought about these things, especially because he wasn't even opening the Daily Prophet. He was just looking at the front page. So Hermione tells him that she doesn't think that people actually believed Harry and Dumbledore at the end of year 4. So she suggests a change of location because talking in the Great Hall isn't ideal right now. Harry's mad. Everybody's being really rude for that matter. And Ron is sad about this because, you know, food. And he had a half-finished apple pie, but like a true friend, he left the pie and he followed them. Shout out to Ron Weasley. Should
we have apple pie at our next gathering?
Yes.
When we come together? Okay.
We're going to have a feast, you guys. Next time we're together, we have to have a feast.
I'm down.
Have to.
I'm down.
How could we not? It's going to be a celebration.
I'm so excited for it
A
already.
swishabration.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
I was gonna say too that, like, I think a lot of, like, people believing Harry or not believing Harry really has to do with their age at the time that this happens, because again, younger students are going to be influenced by their parents, and it really just depends on where their parents' loyalty lies. Do their parents have loyalty to Dumbledore? Or do they have loyalty to Fudge? I would imagine it's very much like government nowadays. You know, and you can say this about any person in power, president, prime minister, whatever you want to say, but, like, not everybody likes the president. Not everybody likes the prime minister. So, like,
Right.
how many people like or don't like Fudge? Because if they say it's like an election, there are plenty of people, I'm sure, who did not vote for him, so they're not necessarily going to be loyal to him, and they would in turn possibly be loyal to Dumbledore then instead.
Well, I will say I did not vote for the Prime Minister because I'm not allowed because I'm an American citizen. But also, like, going off what you say, you know, not only is it going to affect, like, their age and how their parents are and everything, but your friend group as well.
Yeah.
You know, it's I don't know. Like, I'm not the right person to ask because my parents never, like, not that they didn't care what I believed in, they do, but, like, they never forced their beliefs on me. But not everyone is the same way. So, and my friends, none of my friends either. Like, if I disagreed with them, like, we would have a discussion and, like, we could disagree and then we would move on and we're still friends. But not everyone is like that.
Right.
And that's something I'm grateful for in all of my relationships.
Yeesh. So Harry inquires more about what she means. Like, what do you mean, like, people didn't believe me? And she says, look, you don't understand what it was like after it happened, said Hermione quietly. You arrived back in the middle of the lawn clutching Cedric's dead body. None of us saw what happened in the maze. We just had Dumbledore's word for it, that you know who had come back and killed Cedric and fought you. Which is the truth, Harry said loudly. I know it is, Harry, so will you please stop biting my head off, said Hermione wearily. It's just that before the truth could sink in, everyone went home for the summer, where they spent 2 months reading about how you were a nutcase and Dumbledore's going senile. And I believe we already talked about all that. So the rain is really coming down at this point, which we find out later in this chapter. Ron goes, and it's raining. He's just, like, super upset about the rain. And we find out why a little later. So they're going back to Gryffindor Tower, and Harry's first day seemed like it lasted a week. He still had a ton of homework that he had to do before he went to bed. But he has this dull pounding pain over his right eye, Horcrux, and the grounds were still dark as he looked out the window, meaning still no Hagrid.
Mm-mm.
I'm really excited for that chapter, though, when he comes back. It's such a, like, it's a really sad chapter, but it's such a great story. Do you know what I mean? It's a tale.
Yeah.
Literally, it's called Hagrid's Tale.
But,
like,
it's going to be a long episode.
So good. It's probably going to be 2.
I mean, we should dedicate an entire month to Hagrid because he deserves it.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Hagrid
I
month.
thought you were going to disagree with me, and I was going to be like, this is over. I'm done. I quit. I gave you my 2 weeks the other day anyway, so we knew it was coming.
Oh my gosh. Alana loves her little Hagrid. She takes care of him and gives him a bottle and puts him in her crib.
Because she knows. She loves her Sasa, and she loves Hagrid.
Yes.
Just like Sasa does.
So the password for the common room is Mimbulus Mibbletonia. How convenient. Thank you. So the common room is almost empty. Nearly everyone was still down at dinner because they left early. And Crookshanks came over to meet them, purring loudly. And I said, that's a quality kitty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The trio took their favorite chairs by the fire, and Crookshanks leapt into Hermione's lap. But then all of a sudden, Hermione, like, bursts out, how can Dumbledore have let this happen? And she cried that suddenly, and it made Harry and Ron jump. Crookshanks leapt off of her, and he looked affronted. She pounded the arms of her chair in fury, and we really never see her like this. So you know that it's getting to her. Yeah. So she hit this chair so hard that bits of the stuffing were leaking out of the holes.
Oh,
like, that's how mad she is. Oh, that stuff and fluff. She also says, how can he let that terrible woman teach us? And in our OWL year 2. So this has clearly been on her mind. We know that education is so important to her. In her first year, it was more important than living.
Right.
Yeah.
So she wants the best for herself. She wants the best for everybody else. But she feels like, if I could go ahead and say what I think she feels, I think she feels cheated out of a year of Defense Against the Dark Arts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And, like,
And
this is the worst year for this to happen.
Although she should have felt like that way year 2, but, you know.
She was in love.
Oh, wow. She was blinded by the cute teacher.
By the Lockhart.
Oh, that's good.
And his dazzling smile just ding,
5
blinded
times
her.
winner of the Witch Weekly's
Witch
best
Weekly.
smile. Almost
Yeah.
chose smile.
Charming smile.
Whatever.
Oh, God.
Just spilled, but we're good. Keep it going. Harry brings up that the job's jinx, like Hagrid's always told them. Hagrid also brings it up later in the chapter Hagrid's Tale. Harry also
He's smarter than people give him credit for. Sorry to interrupt you,
yeah.
Tiffany.
No.
But, like,
Of
Hagrid
course.
is so much smarter and more intuitive than people give him credit for. Just
But
because
here-
he didn't finish school doesn't mean anything.
Here's something that really gets to me. Harry says that they have never really had a great defense against the dark arts teacher, and I'm like, what about Lupin?
I thought of that too.
Honestly.
Excuse me.
I think you might just be forgetting him for a second. You know what I mean?
Excuse me again. That is
I-
unacceptable.
I agree. I think that Lupin's hands down is like the bomb.com.
Harry, you can go take a walk, sir.
But
What
like, I
the
think it's one of
plank?
those things where like he's just speaking in anger. You know what I mean? Like we've
Yeah.
never had a good teacher. Where like he knows that he's had a good teacher. Also, we don't know how the first year went. Yeah, Voldemort was on the back of his head, but like I think they learned more so than like they did in year 2.
He just taught him
But-
about iguanas.
Yeah,
But-
really.
But like honestly though, they learned last year too, even though, it wasn't,
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
they did
He
learn
just turned out to be, not who he said he was. Which all men do. I'm just kidding.
I seriously just think of Quirrell holding that iguana going, Ingrate. I don't even know what he's saying. I'm just speaking words, but he's like speaking Latin or something.
I'm just speaking words. Yes, that's what happens when you talk.
Well,
You're cute.
Okay. Anyways, Lupin, you're a good teacher. So Ron brings up the point that Umbridge is also trying to get people to spy for her by having them tell her anyone who's saying Voldemort's back. And Hermione said, of course, Fudge wants to know everything that's going on. And Hermione snaps this at Ron. And I want to say something. I love her. But she scolds Harry for snapping at her, so she needs to take her own advice.
True.
Not wrong.
I'm not wrong.
You're
I love
not.
her, but lay off.
She just
man.
needs to. I don't know. I don't care for Hermione too much in this chapter.
lay off. He's starving. I mean, probably. He left his pie.
True.
So Harry automatically goes on the defense. He's like, hold up. Don't start arguing again. We just need to get our homework done and go to bed. But I do want to say back, Ron brings up the point that she's trying to get people to spy for her. This is foreshadowing to, what are they called?
The
The
Inquisitorial.
Loser Squad?
The Loser Squad!
I mean, that's good enough.
Oh, you're welcome.
Slytherins.
Yeah, the
Is it all Slytherins? Is it really just Slytherins?
I don't know.
though?
I don't know in the book.
Somebody
If it is, but I
look
think in
it
the movie it is.
I bet there's Ravenclaws in there.
Not my Ravenclaws.
I'll tell you what. There ain't no Hufflepuffs or Gryffindors in there. I'll tell you that. Nope.
Not
We-
even if they offered
We don't
snacks.
snitch. We don't snitch. We only snitch in Quidditch.
I'm a Ravenclaw. And I don't snitch. I know what happens to them.
They get
Gryffindors.
snitch.
I don't like needles like that. I don't want any stitches.
Gryffindor's snitch and Hufflepuff's snack.
Did you just... Who snitches? What?
Gryffindor snitches, like with Quidditch, and
Say
Hufflepuff
that.
snacks.
Gotta add the Quidditch part.
I apologize. I wasn't thinking in real
You're right.
terms.
Gryffindors are snitches.
Come at me, Meg. Come at me. We
We
all know how to block.
I know. I could hit you with a 2-3.
Oh, 2, 3.
2, 3.
All right. So, oh my God, I said it. I was
All
really
right.
actually trying not to say it.
So,
All right. So,
it's the wine.
yeah, dinner is ending and people are filtering their way back into the common room and Harry is still getting some stares. And I'm personally over it for him. Like, I just feel bad at
So
this
do
point.
I mean, it is
Why?
only like the second day, though. Not to say that it's like, don't do this, but like, it is only
Yeah.
day 2.
He hasn't really had his chance to, like, prove himself again yet, you know? So it's not really going to change.
Shouldn't
and
have
so-
to, though.
No, I agree. But that's basically
yeah,
what ends
I
up
also-
having to happen, you know?
So dumb.
Yeah.
Leave the kid alone.
So this is from the book. They collected their school bags from a corner and returned to the chairs by the fire. People were coming back from dinner now. Harry kept his face averted from the portrait hole, but could still sense the stares he was attracting. So
That's because he's a good-looking guy.
this
He's
is
the
true.
chosen one.
This is also true.
He's got his mother's eyes.
You fine, Harry, you fine.
And Ron suggests that they start with Snape's homework, which I thought was kind of surprising. Like
I think he wanted to do that so he could get, like, make sure he's around Hermione.
Accurate.
Yeah. So I love that, like, this is what he does. He pulls out Parchment and
This
he
is
writes,
me.
the properties of Moonstone and its uses in potion making. And then he looks at Hermione and goes, so what are the properties and uses of Moonstone and potion making?
I will tell you one of the properties is it will enable you to evolve your Jigglypuff into a Wigglytuff.
This
Yes.
is true.
And your Clefairy into a Clefable.
You got that.
This
right.
is also
Yeah.
true.
Are you
Yeah.
speaking English?
Yeah.
I am actually, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
didn't know
Yep.
that.
Yep. Yep.
You
yep.
like Jigglypuff.
I do. I didn't know it. What does it turn into? A wiggly puff?
Wigglytuff.
There's,
Oh, wiggly
there's
tough.
Turn that
Igglypuff.
puff into tough.
Right. There's Igglypuff,
And then what does it become?
Jigglypuff,
Nothing.
and Wigglytuff.
Wigglytuff is the final evolution, Sarah.
So it goes wiggly puff.
No. Igglybuff.
Iggly buff.
You're lying to me.
No.
Go look it up. Go
you
look it up.
are lying to me.
Igglybuff, Jigglypuff, and Wigglytuff.
Yep.
Go look it up right now.
You are lying.
I'm not.
Oh, look at that Wigglytuff.
Oh.
It is true.
I wouldn't
Google
lie.
Google it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, here's one. It's Igglytuff to Jigglypuff to Wigglytuff to Hillary Duff.
Oh my god. Google is clutch sometimes,
That's
man.
awesome.
Oh. So I actually looked up like real-time life properties of the Moonstone.
I already did
and-
that.
Did we? Did we last chapter
Yes.
probably? Well, I'm saying it again. So it's a stone
You do you, boo.
for new beginnings, and it is a stone for inner growth and strength. It soothes emotional instability and stress and stabilizes emotions, providing calmness. So it enhances intuition, promotes inspiration, success, and good fortune in love and business matters. And for the purpose of Harry Potter, it is used in the Draught of Peace. That's only one use of it that we know. I'm sure that there are many others, but that's just what we know. So after writing the title, Ron looks to Hermione and asks her what they are, and I put a big LOL. She was not paying attention to him, though, because she was staring at Fred, George, and Lee Jordan. And I'm just going to read from the chapter. Says, but Hermione was not listening. She was squinting over into the far corner of the room where Fred, George, and Lee Jordan were now sitting at the center of a knot of innocent-looking first years, all of whom were chewing something that seemed to have come out of a large paper bag that Fred was holding. No, I'm sorry. They've gone too far, she said, standing up and looking positively furious. Come on, Ron. What? Said Ron, plainly playing for time. No, come on, Hermione, we can't tell them off for giving out sweets. You know perfectly well that those are bits of nosebleed nougat or puking pastils or... And then she couldn't remember the last one, and Harry goes, fainting fancies. Which I thought was funny. So, like, I personally, like, even if what I thought Fred, George, and Lee Jordan were doing was bad, I never would make Ron go into that situation.
Yeah,
No.
I'd be like, I understand.
I'd be like, I
got
get
this.
it. I'll take care of it. I got you.
You got the next second year that screws up or something. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I think Hermione was just hot,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah,
I mean,
she
she
is.
is
I'm
hot.
sure Ron thought too.
True. I think so. But, yeah. So she was just very angry.
But I agree. I think that's not, it's like a conflict of interest to have
Yeah.
Ron be the one to say something to his brother. It's not the place.
Right. It just,
Yeah.
like, I mean, they're not going to listen to him anyway. So, like, why
Yeah.
force
I can't
the
imagine me going up
awkwardness?
to Marty and being like, don't do that. He would be like, yeah, okay.
Right.
He literally would say that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, Hermione says, "That's enough," she said forcefully to Fred and George, both of whom looked up in mild surprise. "Yeah, you're right," said George, nodding. "This dosage looks strong enough, doesn't it?" And I said, "Sassy George." But, I truly believe that they don't think that what they're doing is incorrect.
I
I
agree.
mean, honestly,
I don't
I don't
think
really
it
think
is.
that I believe that it's incorrect. Yes.
I think they know they're towing a line, but they
Yeah.
know they're not crossing the line.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? They're
Um,
going to push it as far as they can.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I think that in my humble opinion, I see nothing wrong. Because, like, realistically, I don't know. And again, I'm like maybe not the person to ask, because if I ever did something like that, like, my mom would be like, well, she chose to eat whatever he gave. You know what I mean? Like the thing, like the fainting, whatever, or like the puking thing or the nosebleed. Like, the person chose to eat it,
The
and so I have to suffer the
puking
consequences.
Yeah, the puking thing and the fainting whatevers.
Doesn't that sound like Cheryl?
It does. What did
She ate the vomiting one.
we have to segue out of this for literally a hot second. Yesterday, Sarah's mom was trying to tell about Tiger King and called it Lion King.
Yes.
She told I had my mom watch it, and so she was telling this woman she works with. She's like, yeah, I was telling her she's got to watch The Lion King, and I was like, okay, all right, like why? And then like we all like I realized like, oh, you mean Tiger King? Because like I'm like, Lion King's a great movie. Did you mean like the new one with the animated real cats? And she was like, no, Tiger King. We were laughing.
That's so funny.
Okay, back into this.
So basically they're like, Hermione, it's fine. You're overreacting. Which, honestly, like, they try it on themselves first. Like, they're not completely stupid about it, you know? Like, they're not gonna give it to them just, like, blindly and be like, oh, I wonder what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But Hermione thinks differently. So she says, you can't do this. What if you made one of them really ill? We're not going to make them ill. We've already tested them all on ourselves. This is just to see if everyone reacts the same. If you don't stop doing it, I'm going to put us in detention, said Fred, in an I'd like to see you try it voice. Make us write lines, said George, smirking. Onlookers all over the room were laughing. Hermione drew herself up to full height. Her eyes were narrow, and her bushy hair seemed to crackle with electricity. No, she said, her voice quivering with anger, but I will write to your mother.
Dun dun dun!
Dude. That's a low blow.
It is a low blow.
It's
Yeah,
effective-ish.
true. Or George is like, you wouldn't, taking a step back from her. Oh, yes, I would, said Hermione grimly. I can't stop you eating the stupid things yourself, but you're not giving them to first years. Fred and George looked thunderstruck. It was clear that as far as they were concerned, Hermione's threat was way below the belt. With a last threatening look at them, she thrust Fred's clipboard and the bag of fancies back into his arms and stalked back to her chair by the fire. And then she's all angry at Ron, is like, thanks for your support, Ron. Which again, like, I just feel like she is having a bad moment here. Like, this isn't typical Hermione. I don't think that normally she wouldn't have made that threat to Fred and George normally. She would have, like, gone and yelled at them and been like, stop doing this. But I don't think that it would have gotten much further than that. Yes.
Well, we have to think about also, she was hitting a chair right before this. You know, she's fired up in anyways.
Yeah. This is a culmination of a lot of things, and she's taking it out on Fred and George.
But honestly, I do agree with her about the first year thing. Like, lay off of those guys, but seconding up, you know. It's 2 times this episode. I love Chris Farley. Just so much.
I don't even know if I would do second years, though. Like, they're still a little impressionable.
Yeah, but they've been around the block at least 1 year.
Okay.
Anywho's.
So, and also she's taking it out on Ron on top of Fred and George. So Hermione just, like, cannot concentrate, which again I think goes to show how, like, angry she is right now, because the fact that she can't sit down in the common room and focus on doing her homework for the day, like, speaks volumes about her, because clearly she likes to be on top of it, especially this year. I mean, like, she's been talking about it for forever. So Hermione can't concentrate and she decides to go to bed. But before she does, she places 2 hats on the table and covers it up with rubbish.
Sneaky.
Hats. Also, what rubbish?
I think it's just papers.
Super shady and not okay.
I agree.
Yeah.
Is it Slim Shady or just
Chicka Slim Shady?
It's a little snaky.
It's
quite cunning.
Is it a danger noodle level?
Yeah,
or...
a little bit. A little bit.
More like nope rope.
A nope rope.
Shout out to one of our listeners that commented that. It had me dying.
Oh, it's so good.
I just don't care about. Not that I don't care about house elves. I just really, really, really dislike the way that she goes about it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
No, it's sneaky. It's not a good sneaky.
So
Like,
Ron
you
calls
can't
her
force
out,
people to believe in what you believe in.
This is true. Ron is like, what are you doing? You're purposefully freeing the house elves without their permission. Like, they might not want to. And she's like, well, of course they want to. I'm going to read it. So, that's not on, said Ron angrily. You're trying to trick them into picking up the hats. You're setting them free when they might not want to be free. Of course they want to be free, said Hermione at once, though her face was turning pink. Don't you dare touch those hats, Ron. She left. Ron waited until she had disappeared through the door to the girls' dormitories, then cleared the rubbish off the woolly hats. They should at least see what they're picking up, he said firmly. Anyway, he rolled up the parchment on which he had written the title of Snape's essay. There's no point in trying to finish this now. I can't do it without Hermione. I haven't got a clue what you're supposed to do with Moonstones, have you? And Harry
Where's his book?
Right?
Dude,
Agreed, Tiffany.
He doesn't know how to open it.
Don't they have like a vast library to read?
Aloha Mora!
But Harry agrees and he's like, no, I don't know what they are either. Like, let's just wait. And then on their way out of the common room up to their dorm, Harry thinks that he sees Seamus trying to make a move, like he wants to talk to him. But Harry just speeds up to not have that conversation right now.
What I did is what Harry did in his head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't blame him at all.
No. It's too soon for Harry. He needs time, you know?
Yeah. So the next morning, it's just as gross and rainy and heavy as of a day as the day before. When they go down for breakfast, Hagrid still isn't at the staff table. I don't know if they really expected anything to change overnight, but I think Harry's just very hopeful. Ron tries to cheer up Harry by saying that the plus side is no Snape today. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
Hermione was looking pretty pleased about something because apparently all the hats were gone. And she said, seems the house elves do want freedom after all. And Ron's like, I don't really know if those count as clothes. They didn't really look like anything to me, more like woolly bladders. And Hermione didn't talk to him for the rest of the morning.
She's feeling some kind of way lately.
I know. So they had double charms and double potions then. And both Flitwick and McGee spent 15 minutes lecturing about the importance of OWLs this year. So Flitwick is like, these tests are going to influence your future for years to come. If you haven't thought about what you want to do as a career, you better start now. And he said that they were going to make sure they're working harder than ever to do themselves justice. So even like I don't see Flitwick as any kind of like drill sergeant teacher or anything, you know? But like he's like, no, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they spent over an hour reviewing summoning charms, so Harry probably didn't have to do anything because he knows how to do that for sure. And they got their largest ever amount of charms homework ever. So then they go to Transfiguration, which was possibly worse. And I'm just going to read what McGonagall said because I feel like she hits home with it more than Flitwick does because she's McGonagall. She says, "You cannot pass an OWL," said Professor McGonagall grimly, "without serious application, practice, and study. I see no reason why everybody in this class should not achieve an OWL in Transfiguration as long as they put in the work." Neville made a sad little disbelieving noise. "Yes, you too, Longbottom," said Professor McGonagall. "There's nothing wrong with your work except lack of confidence. So today we start vanishing spells. These are easier than conjuring spells, which you would not usually attempt until Newt level, but they're still among the most difficult magic you will be tested on in your OWL." Go ahead, Tiffany.
McGonagall says it best.
Yes.
You cannot pass an OWL, she says grimly, without serious application, practice, and study. Book drop.
I like it. I like it.
But honestly,
We talked about that, you know.
I know, but it's just
ridiculous.
it's insane. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, I agree. I think we all agree that it's just, it brings me anxiety. Like when I thought about it, when I read it the first time of like, they're not practicing these spells, of me in hair school, like having to be state tested and not being allowed to do hair until then. No, thank you.
Hard pass.
Yeah, I don't absorb things as well reading it, but like if I were to watch someone do something, I'll pick it up so much faster.
Yeah.
Or if I practice it, you know. But I also like that she calls Neville out and she's like, your only problem is you don't have confidence. You've got the talent. You're powerfully magical, you know what I mean?
You
like,
have the
it's
drive.
There.
You have the brains. You just need confidence.
Yep. But she's totally right.
And his own wand.
Right.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Confidence
It'll
is key,
happen
man.
next year.
Yeah. So Harry thinks, yeah, she's right. The vanishing spell's pretty bad. It sucks. And by the end of that double period, him or Ron couldn't vanish their snails. But Hermione did it after a third try and got 10 points. But, you know, she got...
Third try.
Ron and Harry got, 5 points for knocking out a mountain troll.
I know, right? Can we talk about this again?
No, you can't, actually. You physically cannot.
You're insane.
So then they got more homework. Ron and Harry spent the afternoon in the library looking up things for potions because Hermione was still not talking to Ron, so she wasn't even with them. And then they head down to Care of Magical Creatures, which unfortunately is not Hagrid, it's Grubbly Plank. And she had a table with like twigs all over it. And of course, here comes Malfoy and his gang. And they clearly have been making jokes about Harry. I don't know what's worse, like talking about someone behind their back or talking about someone behind their back and making it obvious where you're like staring at them and giggling and like, get over yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So annoying.
I can't handle your abbreviation, and I need you to read it in a great way.
So I got tired of typing out Grubbly Plank, so I just put G-P.
GP!
GP!
That's a general practitioner.
All right.
So GP asks if they know what these twigs are, and Hermione puts her hand up, of course, as she always does, and Malfoy does a bucktooth impression of her jumping up and down in eagerness to answer a question. What do you gotta say about these Slytherins, Meg? Why don't you need to be the leader of the group.
Yeah,
tell them to knock it off.
You keep saying Slytherins when you should be saying Malfoy.
But it's a whole group of them.
It's his cronies.
I agree with you. I'm just
They all follow
telling
him.
you.
You agree with me, but you're calling me out on it.
No,
like
I'm
it's
telling
not
you to
just
jump
Malfoy's
in there and show him what a
cronies.
Slytherin is.
Well, I'm
Meg,
not in the book.
you were there. You should have said something.
Yeah.
Megan, I'm not in the book, all right?
I'm younger than them. I wasn't even at Hogwarts yet. I
Whatever.
was 5.
I'm just trying to give you a compliment, but alright.
It sounds to me like you're giving Slytherins a bunch of poop. That's what it sounds like.
No. I'm married to a Slytherin. I love them.
I thought you were gonna be like, I'm married to a poop.
No. Alright, so the twigs
No.
turn out to be bowtruckles. And I'm gonna read from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, the fancy
Huzzah!
illustrated edition from our own lovely Newt Scamander.
Say it right.
Oh man, hold on, I totally just blanked. Sarah, say it for me. Oh, Newt Scamander.
Newt Scamander.
Alright, so it has a
Pretty good.
a 2X classification, so not very dangerous, but it can be. The bowtruckle is a tree guardian creature found mainly in the west of England, southern Germany, and certain Scandinavian forests. It is immensely difficult to spot, being small, only a maximum of 8 inches in height, and apparently made of bark and twigs with 2 small brown eyes. The bowtruckle, which eats insects, is a peaceable and intensely shy creature, but if the tree in which it lives is threatened, it has been known to leap down upon the woodcutter or tree surgeon attempting to harm its home and gouge at their eyes with its long, sharp fingers. Meg, an offering of wood
You
lice.
find something funny, Katie?
No, Meg's reaction. An offering of wood lice will placate the bowtruckle long enough to let a witch or wizard remove wandwood from its tree. So yeah, they're all cute and stuff, like Pickett, until you try to take his home away, which I can't really blame it.
Yeah, for real.
So
Yeah.
Pavarti and Lavender are like, ooh, when they notice that it's not just twigs, it's like bowtruckles, and Harry's instantly annoyed because he's like, no one does that when Hagrid brings out creatures. Like, sure, the flobberworm sucked, but like the salamanders and the hippogriffs are cool.
Sure, the flobberworm sucked.
I think that Hagrid just like ruined it for himself with the Scroots. Like that was rough. That was a rough.
No, but
year
like I think that
classics.
part of it was because of having the hippogriffs and that whole incident happening, and I think a lot of it he just lost his confidence. Like McGonagall was saying to Neville, like, you'd be a great wizard if you had more confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Hagrid would
Yeah.
have been a phenomenal teacher if he was more confident in himself.
Preach.
Mm-hmm. Firstly, he should have gotten his wand back and all that jazz. We all know this.
Yep.
Anywho, a lot of what
I'm sorry, and what?
and what did I say?
And
all-
all that jazz.
Come on, babe, we're gonna paint the town. No, we know he should have gotten his wand back, especially after people were like, "Oh, you were innocent. That's great." Come on. But what I think, when I'm thinking about the age level of the kids and the creatures he's introducing them to, I think it just might be a little too early. I think maybe the maturity level of the students needs to be higher for some of these creatures. Even
Yeah.
though like Malfoy and his little group are like among like some of the most immature when it came to his lessons, but I think it's because they hate Hagrid.
Right.
But maybe knowing that group that you're teaching, dial it back a little bit and introduce them later, maybe when they're older. Just a thought.
Yeah.
But Malfoy honestly ruins these lessons. The Scroots were a horrible idea, and I don't think anybody can get around that. They were also illegal. But maybe just...
NBD.
Right. But like dialing it down to creatures who maybe aren't classified as dangerous and leaving those for, you know, the 6th and the 7th years.
Yeah. I think he just got excited in his third year, in the third year for Harry or whatever, and tried to do like big, and yeah, I agree with you guys.
Well, he's working to prove himself,
Right.
you know, and if he didn't feel like he had to work that hard to show something crazy. He could have relaxed and thought about it and been like, okay, we can build upon this and whatever, because he knows everything there is to know about magical creatures.
Right.
And I feel bad, if he could have just sat back, relaxed, and did his thing, there wouldn't have been any kind of issue. And then Malfoy, honestly, after that Hippogriff incident, I don't even know.
Well, I think part of it, too, is, like, going with his confidence, is that he just feels like he has a lot to prove because he didn't finish Hogwarts, he doesn't technically have a wand, and he's half giant, so people are already thinking negatively towards him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All accurate. So good old GP wants a labeled sketch by the end of class. I can see this being fun for me, but I can see it being a panic-inducing moment for some others.
Yeah.
I would hate it. Yeah.
Like, nobody ever plays Pictionary with me because nobody likes to draw but me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can see someone just being like... I tried to picture, like, the worst... I don't want to say the worst, but, like, someone who's clearly, like, not a drawer, like, the stick figure version of a stick animal. Which could be hilarious.
That would be me. I'll draw you a Bowtruckle.
Thank you. So Harry tries to ask her, of course, because I think he did it last time she was there for Hagrid. He's like, well, where's Hagrid at? And she's like, it's not your business. Like, don't even worry about it. I know.
Not the way to go about that.
So Draco leans in close and he says, maybe the stupid Great Oaf's got himself badly injured. To which Harry's like, yeah, if you keep talking, you're going to be badly injured. And then Malfoy says, maybe he's messing with stuff that's too big for him, if you get my drift. So Harry instantly feels sick and, like, he just goes into, like, panic mode. Like, does Malfoy know something? His dad's a Death Eater. Like, is there some sort of information that they know that hasn't traveled to the Order yet? Like, is Hagrid okay? So he hurries to tell Ron and Hermione what he heard, and Hermione's like, no, like, if Dumbledore would know something immediately if something happened to Hagrid. Like, you're playing into Malfoy's hands if you look worried. We just need to ignore him. But of course, you hear Malfoy again, who's not keeping his voice down. He says, yes, Father was talking to the Ministry just a couple days ago, and it sounds as though the Ministry is really determined to crack down on substandard teaching in this place. So even if that overgrown moron does show up again, he'll probably be sent packing straight away. And Harry's, gripping his Bowtruckle so hard that it tries to gouge out his eyes pretty much and slashes his hand open. Yes,
oh my
Tiffany.
God. I'm going back to thinking about what Harry thought. Did Malfoy know something? His dad's a Death Eater, And I do think Malfoy knew everything, whether he knew it by secret, like if he's listening in, which is something I feel like he would totally do.
Yeah.
Or if, they were just completely being open with him and, letting him know whatever, because I'm sure there were Death Eaters in and out of the house like there were in 7. Not as many, but, I absolutely think that he knew everything that was going on. He knew, that Death Eaters were going to meet with the Giants, and he probably got word that they knew that Hagrid was there or whatever. I guarantee it.
Or maybe it was all speculation, and Malfoy was trying to get an answer out of Harry.
I don't think so. I think he knew.
I kind of feel like he knew something, too.
I think that kid knows too much for his own good.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I mean, he becomes a Death Eater, and he's tasked with something in his 6th year.
Well, it was this book, right, or was it 4? I think it was this one where he's like, I'll be dogging you or whatever he said to Harry.
It's this one.
It was this one, yeah. No, he knows. He knows. Whether he's allowed to sit in on the meetings, I'm not sure about. But
he's got a
either
glass
way.
up to the door.
Yeah.
Maybe
extendable
he could,
ears.
Yeah, maybe he could get one of those extendable ears.
I don't think Fred and George would sell him that for 10,000 galleons.
Megan.
Oh, Meg did a drawing of a Bowtruckle. It's amazing. Sarah, I need one from you too. So at this point, Harry's like fuming, of course, because he's already having a tough year. It's, been 2 days. And he's already raging every day. It's the Horcrux. So he's like, if he calls Hagrid a moron one more time, and Hermione's like, look, like, don't go picking a fight with him. He's a prefect now. He could make your life difficult. And Harry goes, wow, I wonder what it'd be like to have a difficult life. To which Ron laughs, but Hermione's like, all right, that's not something you should joke about. So they head to herbology, and Harry's like, I just wish Hagrid would hurry up and get back. And then he looks at Hermione, he's like, and don't you dare say that Grubbly Plank is a better teacher. Because in truth, he's actually really annoyed with himself because he enjoyed that class.
Yeah.
Which I get, you know, he could be like, that really was kind of like a good class, but like, it wasn't my guy teaching.
Yeah, I appreciate that loyalty in him, and I appreciate, you know, GP for doing her thing and teaching the children. But we want Hagrid.
We want Hagrid.
We
want
Hagrid.
Hagrid.
We want Hagrid.
So they're walking to herbology, and a group of fourth years come out of a nearby greenhouse. So there's Ginny comes out, she says hi, and then Luna comes out, and immediately, one breath, no hello or anything, she's like, I believe he who must not be named is back, and I believe you fought him and escaped from him. And Harry's like, okay.
God, I love her.
And
I love her.
Pravarti and Lavender are laughing at Luna because of her radish earrings. But she thinks it's because of what she said. So she's like, you can go ahead and laugh, but people used to believe that there was no such thing as blibbering humdingers or crumplehorn snorkax. And Hermione is kind of mean, and she's like, well, they were right, weren't they? There's no such thing as those. So Luna gets kind of ticked off, and she gives her a look and walks away. And then Harry's like,
is a little bit.
she's a little sassy.
She's not a little bit. I feel like she's a lot of bit mean.
Yeah.
Super rude and judgy.
Y'all,
I'm just gonna judge her.
she's just going through it right now. I'll just let her go through it.
Yeah.
Don't be mean to other people, even if you're going through it. That's not nice.
It's just human nature, though.
It's tough, man. And even if you don't try to take it out on somebody, like, moods are very contagious.
Oh, they are. You can try it so hard, and then it still just happens.
It's hard, man. You can bum someone out and not even mean to. So Harry's like, can you, like, not offend people who believe me? Because not really too many of them out there. And here's Hermione again. She says, oh, for heaven's sake, Harry, you can do better than her.
So mean.
Harsh. And she's like, you know, she only believes in things that don't have proof at all. But then here's Harry who's like, but she saw the winged horses that nobody else saw that I saw, unless she was lying. I don't know.
I think it kind of proves to us that at times Hermione can be a little bit too
Narrow-minded.
black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little too black and white. And, like, she gets better, thankfully. She even gets better in this book alone, which is nice to, like, see. But,
Go better.
yeah,
I think
at
that's
this
her
point,
logic
it's just
brain.
like, girl, see the spectrum.
Yeah. She will.
Yeah.
She will.
Or just be respectful. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Ernie Mac. He's basically the best.
Ernie.
He steps up and he's like, I just want you to know that it's not just weirdos who believe you. I
Jesus.
100% support you. My family believes in Dumbledore, and so do I. And Harry's like, thanks. And, like, normally I don't think he really likes Ernie too much, because Ernie can be kind of pompous.
Kind
which
of
is
a
weird.
weirdo.
Yeah, which is weird for a pup, I feel. But Harry's like, I'm not going to be picky. Anyone
He's
who's
loyal
like...
to himself, Katie.
I guess.
Wait, are you saying that it's weird that he's weird and he's a Hufflepuff? Like,
No,
only
it's-
weirdos can be in Ravenclaw?
No, it's weird that he's pompous and a Hufflepuff.
Hey, I mean, we're all the mix of the houses.
I agree with you.
I literally was going to be look at Lockhart, and then I realized he's a Ravenclaw.
Oh, sad tweet realization.
Yeah. Part of the crazy house. Are we ready to talk about me?
Yeah.
Talk about I?
Number
So-
one, oh my, me, my.
To the surprise of absolutely no one, Sprout starts her lesson off talking about, what do you know? OWLs. Basically how important they are, blah, 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 blah. They're at the end of the year. Study hard. Learn plant things. Live your life. And it really just serves to make Harry, and I'm honestly sure everybody else in that room, more anxious about it. So she ends their lesson, giving them even more homework. So now Harry's like, I've got 80 years worth of homework and no time because I'm in detention for the rest of my life. And so they left the room smelling like dragon dung, which is used for fertilizer. And they're also very tired.
Thank you.
You're welcome for that. After class, Harry goes straight to the Great Hall because he's hungry. He's hungry. And he doesn't even go to drop his bag off at the at the Gryffindor common room or anything. His plan is, I'm going to go eat, and then I'm going to go see Umbridge. What a perfect combination.
I think that's a great night.
So, he doesn't really even get through the doors before Angelina stops him. And she is not a happy camper because she's super angry, fired up, about the fact that Harry has landed himself in detention for the rest of the week. And he's almost like, okay, whatever. And she's like, specifically, Friday. They're having tryouts for keeper, remember? And he's like, oh, yeah, woo. And I said, in my opinion, she's just being ridiculous. So this is a quote from her from the book, and it says, didn't I tell you I wanted to do a tryout with the whole team and find someone who fitted in with everyone? Didn't I tell you I'd booked the Quidditch pitch especially, and now you've decided you're not going to be there? And it's like, all right, calm down.
He didn't decide
to, he didn't choose to be in detention. That was not his plan. Umbridge is just Umbridge. And really, Angelina doesn't care what he has to say or do, because she's like, you're going to tell her you're going to do whatever you need to do to get out of it for Friday. You're going to be at that tryout. She's like, I don't even care if you have to tell Umbridge that you know who's a figment of your imagination. You're going to be in the Quidditch pitch on Friday.
Oliver Wood reincarnate.
Well, that's basically what he says. So then she storms off. He's ticked off. And then Ron and Hermione finally are there, and Harry literally wonders out loud. He's like, someone should go talk to Puddlemere United, because that's who Oliver Wood plays for, and make sure that he hasn't died or anything, because I swear he's channeling her spirit or his spirit.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. And so then Ron asked Harry, what do you think the chances are of Umbridge actually letting you out on Friday's detention? And then I said, we all know there's a snowball's chance of that happening. But Harry will ask. He also
does
hopes.
It say that?
It doesn't, but my notes do. Harry said
Boing.
0, a 0 chance, 0 out of 10. It's not happening. But he will ask, which, hey, that's pretty brave of you to the answer is going to be no, but you're going to ask anyways. And then he says he also hopes, or he's thinking he also hopes that it's not too long, his detention, because there's a crazy amount of homework that he needs to do, a bunch of essays and other stuff, And then I said, which means he's going to be in detention for a long time that night, basically. So then he makes his way to Umbridge's office, and I wanted to read about her office situation. So it says from the book, he had known this office under 3 of its previous occupants. In the days when Gilderoy Lockhart had lived there, it had been plastered in beaming portraits of its owner. When Lupin had occupied it, it was likely you would meet some fascinating dark creature in a cage or tank if you came to call. In the imposter Moody's days, it had been packed with various instruments and artifacts for the detection of wrongdoing and concealment. Now, however, it looked totally unrecognizable. The surfaces had all been draped in lacy covers and cloths. There were several vases full of dried flowers, each residing on its own doily, and on one of the walls was a collection of ornamental plates, each decorated with a large technicolored kitten wearing a different bow around its neck. These were so foul that Harry stared at them transfixed until Professor Umbridge spoke again.
Okay, I didn't catch Technicolor the million times I've read this.
Yeah.
Technicolor kittens. And secondly, the first part that you read where it said that in Lupin's office there'd be an interesting creature in a tank in the corner. It's like, well, why didn't you remember him earlier in the chapter when you said there weren't any good Defense Against the Dark Arts teachers?
Preach.
Right.
And I think he was just speaking.
Harry James.
I think I'm just disappointed in Harry Potter, okay?
Yeah, me too.
Any whoosies, he did not notice her, being Umbridge, right away because her robes matched the tablecloth, and they're both being described as luridly flowered, and she blended in. So she tells him to sit down. There's a small table that was covered in lace with a blank piece of parchment on it. So Harry, before he begins, wants to ask for a favor. I think that's just crazy to ask Umbridge for a favor, but whatever. And he basically asks Umbridge if he can skip detention on Friday and have it another day because he's got tryouts because he's on the Gryffindor Quidditch team and blah, 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 blah. And she says, oh, no. Oh, no, no, no. This is your punishment for spreading evil, nasty, attention-seeking stories, Mr. Potter. And punishments certainly cannot be adjusted to suit the guilty one's convenience. No, you will come here at 5 o'clock tomorrow, and the next day, and on Friday, too. And you will do your detentions as planned. And I said, I get it. I literally was like, God, I get it, but she's also the worst. Like, you shouldn't be, like, you shouldn't be allowed to go. I understand you asking. Cool for you to ask, but also no. But also, be punished for telling the truth.
There were 30 but alsos in there.
But also Umbridge is the worst. So so obviously what I love here is Harry is super. Yeah, Megan.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
God, I love you so much it hurts.
I was gonna say it's really difficult to talk about Umbridge and not swear. Really, really, really hard. But also, Harry shouldn't have to go to detention because he doesn't deserve to be there. So yeah, while sure, if it was a deserved detention, I get it. But it's not a deserved detention, so forget you, Umbridge woman.
It's not a deserved detention, but if you are in detention, you don't get to have your other thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We all know she's the worst. So obviously, Harry is none too pleased to hear all of those things that she was saying about him, and he's really mad, livid. And he can tell, she's trying to get a rise out of him. She's trying to see if he's going to kind of have, another freak out moment and start yelling. And it literally says, in the book, something along the lines of, it takes everything in him to not take the bait. And he, almost gives himself, a minute to, calm down. And he, drops his bag and he sits down at the table. And Umbridge even says, she's like, oh, wow, I can see that you're, getting a hold on your anger. And I'd be like, yeah, you want to see my anger? A.k.a. my fist in your face. I don't condone violence, don't you people? But she tells him that he's going to be doing lines, but not with his quill. She has her own special quill for him to use.
She does indeed.
Oh, do you want me to write? She hands him a long, thin black quill with an unusually sharp point.
An unusually sharp.
It's probably a needle point.
Cliffhanger. She was actually gonna give him a tattoo.
I don't know what happened. Do you think there's any people out there whose names are Cliffhanger?
I hope so.
Please let there be.
Or a Peter Pan.
Maybe that was another love interest of Eric Munch. Mr. Cliffhanger.
I like that.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
Or a good family friend.
It's time for the lightning bolt round.
Oh, yeah, and it's my turn to do it now. I mean, I do it now.
Yeah, you do. Go for it.
Were there more?
No, but No, go ahead.
I have one, but we'll wait till mine for the last.
Oh.
She's the worst. That's for Tam.
Okay. First one comes from Paisha. Yes or no, would you believe Harry Potter after Cedric's death?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
More than likely. Like, how else would you explain he dying?
Right. There would just be, like, too many questions if I didn't believe him, you know? So, like, questions are answered with Harry's story, so I'm gonna believe him. Brandon, what pie symbolizes each house?
Oh, Lord. I'm gonna say apple for Gryffindor.
Why?
Apples can be red.
Oh my God. Do you want to know what else can be red? Cherries or strawberries, and those
I would
actually
say cherry pie
stay
because
red.
those are gross.
No, first of all,
I agree.
you're gross. You're nasty. You're gross. You're gross.
Gryffindor's cherry pie because it's the worst
No,
pie.
get out of town. Just kidding. You're not allowed. No, I don't want sherry.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't-
that's
No
what
one
you are.
cares.
I also don't want a brioche bun, but that's not my business.
I think that Slytherin would be apple because we're very versatile.
Shut your face.
Nice.
Shut your danger noodle. I don't know what no, I'll take chocolate silk.
No, that's
I
not
was gonna
Gryffindor.
say that Hufflepuff
Shut
would be.
it. I get to choose it.
You don't get to choose it.
Why don't I?
Because I think it needs to embody what a Gryffindor is. So you need
Yeah,
something bold.
Apple, cinnamon, bold, suck it.
That's not bold. It's versatile. It's Slytherin.
See, no, I don't think an apple pie is versatile. I honestly kind of think it's a little boring. So that goes fine with a Gryffindor.
Ooh, shots fired.
Doubles. Sasa.
I think that Hufflepuff might be a shepherd's pie because there's a bunch of different flavors and it's more savory and it's like a good comfort food.
No, Sarah in the chat said Hufflepuff would be pizza because that's the best kind of pie.
Oh,
And
that
I
is
agree
pie.
with
I'll
that.
allow it.
True.
I'll agree. All right, well, what's Gryffindor? Don't say cherry, lamos.
Strawberry and rhubarb. It's got a bite to it.
Aw,
I've never
you're
had
being
it.
nice to me.
I actually really like strawberry rhubarb pie.
I actually poured out my feelings to you today, so I appreciate your pie. All right, what? Okay, I don't even know where to begin.
What's
the next
a Slytherin
question?
pie?
Oh, okay, we're still on this.
What's a
Yeah,
Ravenclaw
we only talked
pie?
about, so like, what did we decide?
You said Shepherd's. Katie's
I
Pizza.
like Shepherd's or pizza for Kate. Something
Yeah, shepherd's or
savory.
Hufflepuff. Yeah.
Slytherin.
Slytherin would be something like rich.
That could be French silk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's high and mighty.
Oh yeah.
Ravenclaw would be the pie of knowledge. It would be the Trivial Pursuit pie.
Slytherin would be a hot pocket.
Slytherin would be a hot pie.
No. Why? Because we're like, you know, there's some cold spots in there and some warm spots.
Oh my god, it would. You could be a hot pocket that's a pizza hot pocket.
You never know what
I'm
you're gonna get.
go with hot pockets being classified as pies, so Slytherins can be hot pockets.
That's hilarious.
I mean, I guess it's pretty accurate because we're, you know, first of all, it could be pizza, and that's pretty cool. And second of all,
But I also think
you never know what you're gonna get with us, do ya?
That's true.
I feel like it should be like not a normal, like if you're gonna have like I don't know if this is a thing because I don't eat hot pockets, but do they have like a pizza flavored hot pocket that has like meat in it, like
Yeah.
besides like pepperoni? Because some like that's not a pie that, or that's not a pizza that everyone likes. You know
That
what I mean?
would be the Hot Pocket Supreme Pizza.
Yeah, there's that.
Thank you for knowing that. Hilarious.
Well, if you're like Jim Gaffigan, he calls them diarrhea pockets.
I have never had any gastrointestinal problems from a Hot Pocket.
Yeah, me either.
If it's burned your mouth, then yes, you have.
It has burned my
It
mouth.
has burned my mouth.
Because I can never wait till it's done cooling.
Sarah,
my
what's
good-
Ravenclaw?
Well, you
though?
never
Do we
know.
like the Trivial Pursuit pie?
Pursuit.
I like that.
I'm alright with that. I also said a mixed berry pie
Yeah.
I like that too.
That's good.
with a crumble top because you get a little bit of different flavors. You know what I mean?
A mixed berry pie
they're
with
all,
a
like-
crumble top.
That sounds
Oh my god, my
amazing.
life has
They're-
changed.
they're-
I've never thought to put crumble top on anything but apple.
Really?
All right, well, I expect a
We should
pie
have a
of
pie
such
bake-off.
on my doorstep.
We
so
should have a
just
pie bake-off
Great
when we're
House
together.
Pies has them. They're so good.
let me know.
Tiffany, I want you to bake us a pie for our feast.
What
I'll buy you a pie.
does Tiffany make? Nothing.
All right, next question.
You don't like pie crust, Megan.
I like some pie crust, but I can't eat all
It was
of the
in
pie
your top
crust.
10. You don't like it.
I mean, like, I don't
It's so good.
love it.
It's so good. When you get the taste of the pie with that buttery, delicious, crispy crust.
I'm just saying, I loved those
Mhm,
top
I
10
agree.
dislike things that were going around Facebook. It was really funny to read some of them.
Okay, excuse me. I said I was gonna do that, and then Meg's like, "Why are you even spending time on this?" And I said, "Because it's important and I want to do it."
She kept asking, she's like, what? It's something I don't like. And I'm like, I don't know.
She wouldn't help me. So
Things I don't
wouldn't
like.
help her.
Slytherins.
Jeez, Sarah.
That's number one.
My number one
Oh.
was lettuce.
Melted ice cream. Number two.
Jeez. All right,
Hershey's
go.
hot fudge.
Move on. Move on.
Carly asks, what skiving snack would you create? Do you want to know what a really good one would be? Diarrhea. I don't know how you could name it, but nobody ever questions.
Diarrhea.
Nobody ever questions you if you said that you're having like intestinal issues. Like,
I've said this for years, everyone.
right? Like, just be like, my stomach is being kind of funny, and they're like, it's okay, go home, no big deal.
no, just say that I've been in the bathroom
Call it
3
intestinal
times
issues.
and I gotta go.
Yeah.
Diarrhea. What's a good diarrhea candy?
I would call it
Rumbly
intestinal
Diabolical diarrhea.
Oh, well,
Disaster.
look who showed up.
What?
Womprat _2M.
Who
As-
invited him?
What did you just come into here? A diarrhea darling.
Oh my god. A diarrhea dum dum, like those dum dum lollipops.
Yes. Diarrhea dum dums. Got it.
Magoots.
Oh, jeez.
A poopy popsicle. I don't know.
Yeah.
Poopsicle.
Whoa.
Somebody come up with something else. What else could we make?
Oh, gosh. Diarrhea discharge.
Ugh.
Oh.
This is
Yeah,
gross.
that's not okay.
This
That's
is
not
gross.
okay.
Oh, gosh. A poopsicle.
I said this. No one listens
So
to me.
True.
Let's think of something not so severe.
Just call it fudge.
Oh
A-
my god.
A fatigue fudge.
Oh, that's good.
No,
I guess there's
I don't
fever
think
fudge,
that.
though.
Too
You just-
tired.
You just can't keep your eyes open, you know? Next,
From
next,
pooping though?
next
Because
one.
then you're like gonna be like
I'm not talking about.
incapacitated with, like,
I wasn't
oh,
talking
you're talking
about
about like
pooping.
another one. Which I got. I was very confused.
Oh goodness. Next one.
Oh. Vinny, is Hermione wanting Ron's support a glimpse of them in their marriage life?
Probably.
A little.
But like I think
think-
that hopefully by the time she grows up that she's like that's a lot to ask. Like
Yeah.
she's basically having him choose between like her and his brothers.
Right, and that's
Not a
not
choice
fair.
they have to make.
I also
Yeah.
think that tensions are really high right now, and they're always kind of tense around each other in general. So I think once they get together,
I thought they were only intense.
What?
all I hear is wheezing. We're gonna call you Wheezin' Ed from now on.
Oh god! I said I thought they were only intense in the 7th book.
Get out,
Yes.
man.
And in the 4th book.
Oh my god.
At least they're magical. So weird.
So I was gonna ask a question. Do you have any more, Tiffany or Megan?
I have
Whoever's
two.
reading
I
them.
have two more.
Okay.
So next is from Kelly. If you had to be a cat on Umbridge's wall, what type of cat would you be?
A ginger.
I don't know. Cat.
Grumpy.
A naked cat. And my
Aren't
name
all
would be
cats
Harry.
naked? Oh, you mean like no hair?
Yeah.
Maine Coon. I'll be a Maine Coon.
Ooh, those are cool.
Nice.
What are those big ones?
I would be a
Maine
tiger.
Coon.
No, they're ones that are actually our Beachbody trainer has them. He has 2 of them. They're giant and they have like spots.
Ocelot.
No, Savannah.
Savannah
Are
cat.
they like you shouldn't own them privately kind of cats?
No, they're
Almost.
domestic cats.
Almost. They're crossbreeds.
Crocs.
Last one is from Mia. Do you fancy yourself more of a danger noodle, a perilous sketty, or a hazard macaroni?
Perilous sketty.
I need you to be a perilous skitty.
I like a hazard macaroni
That's pretty great.
because it reminds me of macaroni and cheese, and that's good.
Not always. I like to think I'm a danger noodle.
I do
Oh, am
also
I?
really like danger noodle. Yeah, everybody has to pick one.
Oh, dude. Okay. Well, I'm gonna be a perilous sketty.
Yeah, that's what I want.
We could be the same.
Not that I don't like spaghetti, but like if I was a danger noodle, I could be angel hair pasta because that's a noodle and that's my favorite kind.
True.
You guys ever have bucatini?
No.
Bucatini
I don't
is
know.
so good. We just had it over the weekend. Such a good noodle. I recommend.
I'm like weird about pasta though
That's
because I don't love all pasta.
okay. Try bucatini.
What kind of how is it shaped?
It's long, but it's like thick. I can't explain it. Marty made it.
I that's why I love angel hair because it's like thin and like light. Like a fettuccine noodle, sometimes it's too thick for me. It's just like all right. I don't care for lasagna noodles at all. AKA don't like lasagna. Sorry,
I don't
everybody.
like
Offending.
lasagna either.
I only like lasagna.
Yeah. I only eat lasagna.
My cousin, before she could really like say it, she she would ask for laganga.
Laganga. That sounds like a
It's
dance
laganga
move.
night. Mhm.
Sarah, what's your
Yeah.
question?
Well, I was gonna ask about what pie are the houses, but I want to ask a question about potatoes.
Okay.
Which way? You know how we talked about like how someone eats an ice cream cake means like what house
Yeah.
they're in. So like, what way do like the houses eat potatoes?
Hufflepuffs
Like
are
Hufflepuffs
anyway.
don't care.
Right.
Yeah,
Anyway.
like they don't care.
Boil
You
and
know,
mash them, put them
Like
in
they're
stew.
hobbits in that way.
I feel
Yes!
like Slytherins would kind of have to be a little sophisticated, so it would be like French fries with truffle oil.
Oh.
Or like a nice scalloped potato. I feel
Yeah.
like that's
Au
fancy.
gratin.
Yeah.
A cheesy
Yeah.
scallop.
Yeah.
This is hard for me because I love pretty much all potatoes. My number one favorite though is roasted in the oven with olive oil,
And
salt, and
rosemary.
pepper.
Yeah, those are so good.
Guys,
Yeah.
I just ate and now
See,
I'm
like
starving.
I feel
Thanks.
like the Ravenclaw would have something like sophisticated and intelligent, like you said, like a truffle oil with
Ooh.
Parmesan or something.
You know what? The difference between the Ravenclaw and the Slytherin potato would be that the Slytherin potato would be called pommes frites.
Yeah.
I know. See, I feel like the Ravenclaw one would be called pommes frites.
I think the Ravenclaws would be like a twice baked potato.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it like steps
I love
it
a
up
good
notch.
ice cream.
Extra
Right,
care.
right, extra care.
Yeah,
You need to
yeah.
know how to do it and be skilled at it.
Yeah. Or
I
like
mean,
a
you could also
Hasselback,
just mess up potatoes.
where you like keep it
Oh.
together, but you slice them really tiny and you bake it.
And it's like,
Mhm.
oh,
Mhm.
oh,
Yeah.
I will take all of these.
Or like,
Can we have a potato party?
yeah.
Guys, we're gonna
that
have
could
to
be
have
part
a
of
lot
every-
of parties.
Every day. Oh my god, that's what we should. We'll do
A
like
potato
a potato
feast?
feast, and everybody has to like. We'll rate who has the best potatoes.
In
I like
But like
her.
Megan and Katie have to make. Like Megan has to make one, and Katie has to make one, and
Yeah.
Tiffany has to go without Marty's help.
In
I make
honor
potatoes all
of
the
Harry
time.
Potato.
What kind
Oh
of
my
potatoes
God.
do you make?
We have to do it in
I make
honor of Harry
roasted-
Potato.
Which
I
still
can
haven't
make.
Yes, Harry
Yay.
Potato.
We're gonna have a
Katie
Harry
still
Potato
hasn't
party.
gotten Harry Potato.
Like, and I feel like if you're like a gross human, like a Peter Pettigrew, he probably microwaves his potatoes like to get a baked potato instead. You know what I mean? Like he's that kind of human.
Okay, last one is name a noodle for your house.
All noodles. No, what's this one?
No, I wanted that one. Actually, no, I have another one.
Oh, what's this one?
Rotini.
Well, rotini, because we're fun.
I don't know noodles.
There's a
Well, Mia posted a guide for us in
Oh,
Discord.
where is it? Oh, geez. Okay.
I would like
I
to
feel like
think...
Ravenclaw might be. It would either be no. Maybe this is a Hufflepuff thing to be a ravioli because you could put different things in it.
Oh, that's good.
I feel like a Ravenclaw might be one of those spirally ones or something, so it can like catch extra flavor.
I think Slytherins would be cavatelli because they're like you can roll them out flat, but then they spring back together into this little like spiral. I love them. They're so good.
If you think that different noodles don't have different tastes, you're wrong.
But I also think like too that people don't realize like it truly does make a difference when you cook with love than when you don't.
It
Yeah.
does.
It does.
Where are the little bow tie noodles in here?
Oh, well, they're just called bow ties, so.
Yeah, I think that's what Gryffindor would be because they think they're special, but they just are okay.
You're not being very nice to me tonight, and I am unsure why.
Well, you
I
could
was
have been
going
a
to
wagon
say
wheel.
that Gryffindors are probably
How do I get
penne
out?
because they're boring.
Oh yeah.
I hate penne.
I like penne.
It's
hate
not like I only eat it when I have to. You know what I mean? Like I don't buy penne
Yeah,
pasta to ever
same.
eat.
Same.
Yeah, what Brandon said in the chat. That's the bow tie.
Say it. Try and say it.
Farfalle?
Did you get hairy potato, Katie?
No, I got kawaii.
I got kawaii.
I don't think that's how you say it.
Kawaii.
Fuck.
That's how you say it.
He'll huffany puffany blow. Oh, what did he say? He'll huffany puffany sign an eviction notice. That was on the other day, and I was thoroughly enjoying
I
myself
need to
watching
watch that
Shrek.
again, bad.
It's so good.
Katie,
Is that
do you
all
have
the
a fan
questions?
story?
I did. I just had one pulled up and it went away. I'll pull one up. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Oh boy.
What? Here, I got one.
Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. This week's fan story comes from Deanna Blake. My name is Deanna. I am 35, almost 36 years old. What?
Never mind.
What?
Is it Deanna or Deanna?
Deanna, I'm sorry.
Okay.
They even pronounced it for me. My apologies.
I was like, that's a
Deanna.
really strange pronunciation.
I'm sorry. I just started listening to your podcast and I finished The Sorcerer's Stone and am halfway done with Chamber. I wanted to share my Potter story. I, like so many others, didn't want to read it in the beginning because everyone else was reading it. But unlike many others, I was much older than the trio when it came out. My little brother is closer to that age. My best friend loved the series from day one and kept telling me to read it. In 2005, when the 6th book was coming out and the 4th movie was releasing, I jumped on the bandwagon. She let me borrow the first 3 books and movies. She told me I had to read the books before I was allowed to watch the movies. Well, me not listening because the first chapter wasn't keeping me interested, I watched the movie, loved it, so I decided to give the books another try. I read the first book in a day and immediately went out and bought the paperback set of all 5 and had to wait until the 6th book was released. I went to the midnight release of the 7th book. I now have a 6-year-old little boy who is becoming interested in magic and Harry Potter. He loved the movies but isn't ready yet for the length of the books, but we will be there soon. Also, I'm a proud Hufflepuff. Woo, 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 woo. My Patronus is a wildcat. That's cool.
Ooh.
That is super cool.
My Wanda's...
Woo! Go Wildcats!
Wildcats in the house.
My Wanda's walnut.
Sure, also Ignatius.
This wood type wasn't covered in the Felix files, so I wasn't sure if you had any information you could tell me about it. Hey, hit me up and I'll hit you back. Also, my son is a Ravenclaw. Thank you so much for doing
Awesome.
your podcast. It keeps me sane at work while driving, cleaning, and other basic muggle things.
Nice.
Well, thank you, Deanna.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much for your story. I'm glad your child is getting into it too. That's always fun.
Yeah, I like
It's a
that
cool
you're
age.
passing it along.
Yes.
I like
cool.
jokes.
Jokes! I picked one out already.
We're all
I already
in
said a joke.
this
They were intense.
together.
In the 7th book.
Sarah, that was your joke. This is my joke.
Katie's got
Technically, it's
jokes.
not your joke.
Meg's
Who
trying to
wrote the
look.
book?
The book is written by Brian Boone and illustrated by Amanda Brack.
So thank you, Brian Boone, for writing these jokes for Katie to claim as her own.
You know what, Sarah? I'm gonna eat your twice-baked potatoes, and you can't have any of them.
That's all right. I'll give you my twice baked potatoes because I love you, Katie.
I love you too. Where does Professor Lupin live?
I don't know, Katie. Where?
In the doghouse.
No, in a warehouse.
I was close.
Ah, good time.
So good.
All right.
So good, so good, so good.
In case you guys didn't know this already, you can find us on social media.
What?
We're on Facebook at Swish and Flick Podcast. We also have a group called Swish and Flick Podcast Group. We're on Twitter at Swish Flickcast and Instagram at Swish Flickcasts. You can follow your hosts, Katie and myself, on Twitter and Instagram at The Peters Family. You can follow Tiffany on Twitter and Instagram at tiffswish_flick. And you can follow Sarah on Instagram at O'Malley with 3 H's. We love doing stories on Instagram, and sometimes we'll go live before the episode, so make sure that you turn on alerts so that you can join in on the fun. If you love this podcast and want to support us and be a part of it, you can join us on Patreon. You can find us at patreon.com/swishflickcast and choose your support level. There are different levels that you can donate to us monthly from $2 up to $25, and it gets you different perks such as access to our show notes, access to Discord. We do monthly hangouts. We have a box that we send out twice a year. So thank you to all of our current patrons. We couldn't do this without you.
And to all our listeners, you're amazing.
Amazing.
You're amazing, you are.
What am I doing? Thank you for
Tell me,
asking.
Tiffany.
No, honestly, I've been posting more on my Instagram page, and this week I made an herb roasted pork, and it was really, really good. And then for leftovers, we turned them into pulled pork sandwiches, which was pretty good.
That sounds
It
amazing.
was so good. And then I also have been missing Starbucks like a lot because it's not necessary for me to go there. So I made my own frappuccinos at home, caramel frappuccinos, and they're really, really, really good. So it's super simple, and I posted the recipe on my Instagram as well. What's up?
So speaking of coffee, and it's a couple weeks now since this has all been like viral, but that whipped like whatever coffee has been going around where like it's instant coffee, whatever.
Yeah.
So last week was the last week that my best friend, like before she started her job, so she was home. And so she kept making like this whipped coffee. Mind you, she's not a coffee drinker. But like she was talking to me the one day and she's like, "Oh, I'm just sitting here making caramel." I go, "For what?" She goes, "Just to have caramel sauce." Because she was making herself like, so if you don't know, like you take instant coffee and sugar and hot water, like in equal parts. So it's like 2 tablespoons of each. And you whipped it until it became like almost mousse-like. And then you would put it on top of milk or a non-dairy milk, whatever you drink your coffee with. And then you have like a whipped iced coffee. But she added caramel sauce, which is what made me think of. And I was so bored last week that I wanted to try it, but we don't have instant coffee because they're like, "Oh, you should have all the ingredients at your house." I don't have instant coffee at my house. And I'm obviously not going to go and buy some.
I totally bought instant coffee to try it. I put it in my last grocery order. We're going to try it soon.
Can you make
Awesome.
Well, so
Can you put it on hot coffee?
No.
I don't think you can.
Because
So
it
I think
doesn't
it's like a
get the
consistency
texture.
thing.
Then I don't want to be a part of
So
this.
this
Fine, I'll drink it all. Whatever.
Whoa. That
this guy
escalated.
made it, and he was like, He goes, I won't lie. He goes, this isn't good. It tastes like instant coffee.
Yeah.
That's been like sweetened. And then he tried it again with like a nicer, like independent coffee shop had made their own instant coffee. He goes, yeah, it's a better quality of coffee. He's like, but it's way too sweet. I don't think I would like it, but I still want to try it because I've been influenced by people on Instagram.
I don't know if I'll
but also,
like it
it's
either,
a
but
lot
I'm
of coffee.
intrigued. Like, do you literally just like eat the mousse? Is that all it is?
No. So this is you take 2 tablespoons of the instant coffee.
Right.
You take 2 tablespoons of sugar, and I think you could also use like a sugar substitute, like a stevia or a Splenda or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've seen people use both white sugar and brown sugar, and then you put 2 tablespoons of boiling water, and you literally either whisk it, which if you don't have a hand mixer, you can whisk it. It's just going to take you several minutes. Or you can use a hand mixer and you whisk it, have it like whisk around until it becomes like, have you ever made like a meringue? Like, have you ever whipped like egg whites? So you want them to become foamy like a mousse. So it takes 5 to some minutes, you know what I mean, to do it. And then like if you guys, like for me, I don't put milk in my coffee, but even if I did, like I prefer like an almond because it just is better for my stomach. So whatever milk products you are drinking, whether it's milk or a non-dairy milk, like almond, soy, oat, whatever, you put that over ice and then you put the whipped coffee on top of it. So it's your milk or non-dairy milk with ice, and then the whipped coffee goes on top.
So it's kind of like a macchiato, a little bit.
But I think a macchiato is espresso.
Yeah,
so
it is.
Because even like you can't do this with espresso. Like the guy was like, the crystallization or whatever of the granules of instant coffee is what helps science-wise make it mousse. I believe that's what this guy was telling me on this video.
I'm gonna try it
because I'm like, why can't I just do it like instead of adding the water? Why can't I just do it whipping sugar and like an espresso together? The guy's like, it's not gonna work.
Huh.
But
well, I will share it on my Instagram with everybody.
Yeah. But Jen not only made the whipped coffee, but she also made, like, from scratch, her husband a trifle. Because he's, like, has to work in schools and he works in IT. So he had a stressful couple of days. And I was like, what the heck? I'm like, when this is all over, can I get a trifle? Like, homemade caramel sauce, homemade brownies. Jeez.
Dang.
I'm like, I made a brownie out of a box.
So my last little bit of new news, because I actually have new things to share this week, kind of ties into Megan and Katie's as well.
Yes.
So we all started a new workout program, Megan and Katie and myself did. And it's been a lot of fun, and my everything is sore.
Yeah, same.
Yep, me too. But in the best way.
Yeah. So you guys can go ahead and talk about it a little more if you want.
So it's boxing, which is really fun, and I never would have guessed that you would get as much of a workout with boxing as you do. Like, it's so satisfying.
It also, like, cleared my head more than any workout I've ever done before.
Same. I just, like, picture someone I really dislike whenever I'm punching, and it works really well.
I'm, like, not
Oh my gosh.
I'm not one that can copy moves very well. Like, any dance workout I'm terrible at.
Oh my gosh, she's struggled, but I've helped her.
But Meg helps me, and, like, having that extreme concentration on something just wipes my mind blank of absolutely everything else. So it's working out pretty good.
And also, we've been playing Animal Crossing. Let's just get that out in the open.
We have. Sorry, I didn't add that in. We play...
Again, not we.
Okay, Megan and Katie and myself. We play every single night. We play with our friend Carrie. Shout out to Carrie. And it has been so much fun.
Oh my gosh, I'm like obsessed. I'm building the Slytherin common room in my house, so that's fun. And I also have a kitchen, and I love my bedroom, and I have Slytherin robes, and I love it.
I got really confused for a second. I was like, wow, Katie's letting you, like, make it all Slytherin?
Nope, she's got her own house.
Yeah,
I just made an egg day or a bunny day outfit.
I love the bunny day outfits. I'm not wearing mine until Sunday, though, for Easter, so.
I put mine on today because I wanted to wear it more than once.
Oh God.
I dressed up my character today, and I put on really cute little green chinos and pumps and this little dressy shirt, and she's got her little black hat on. She looks really cute.
Oh my gosh.
Guys.
Katie,
Animal
what are you
Crossing is
doing?
so good.
Same thing.
Same thing, yeah. Working out.
Still trying to fit in yoga when we can.
Still trying to figure out home life because, you know, even though I'm working at home, I still, like, clock out, and then I'm like, I just want to do nothing, you know?
Yeah.
I don't want to do dishes, so still trying to find that balance, even with the change of atmosphere, but
Yeah.
other than that, it's fine.
Being able to work out during lunch, though, has been, like, a game
It's
changer.
been pretty great, and it helps me get through the rest of my afternoon because I'm, like, pumped up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Salsa.
I'm literally doing nothing. I work, which as of right now, it hasn't been, well, as of when we're recording this, it hasn't been crazy. I don't know what's going to happen from here. It's just odd. But it's nice that I can at least get out of the house for like 2 days out of the week. This is the last Thursday of my years in my 20s.
When this
I don't know.
episode airs, you'll be 30.
Salsa.
I know.
I'll be almost
I know.
30.
I don't know. It's just been like weird, you know what I mean? And I'm sure everyone else is feeling that way. So like I've been cleaning and rearranging my room and school and the podcast and work and not going anywhere. But I've gotten rid of a lot of things and bought new things. I got posters hung up on my wall. Just my life, man. I will say that, like, so obviously this is going to be coming out past my birthday, but like, so I was supposed to spend my birthday in New Orleans, and like we had to cancel it, which is totally fine and understandable. But like with everything that's like been going on in the world, and like I come from like a family of like healthcare providers, basically like nurses, that like makes me like secure in what I want to do with my life, which is I guess a good thing because not everyone has that like knowledge, you know what I mean? Like there's still people that like struggle not knowing what they want to do. So I'm like, oh, well, at least I know I'm on the right path, or feel like I'm on the right path at least. Just took me a million years to get there.
I wish I knew what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, but I don't, so.
I know what you want to do.
Podcast?
And do freelance whatever you want.
Yeah, that's true.
Preach.
Yeah. But that's about it.
Cool.
I'm looking
this-
forward to other weather days. Sorry, Tiffany, to interrupt.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, better weather.
Honestly, same. It snowed like 4 times today, and then it was sunny, and then it rained, and then it hailed, and then it was sunny again, and then it was cloudy, and then it snowed. It was Ohio.
We
Literally,
also had like horrible thunderstorms, and I
Yes.
don't like thunderstorms to the point where like
Yeah, they
I
were
was
bad.
cowering under my pillows the other night because it kept waking me up. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'm like Sam. I am. I don't like fried green eggs and ham. I don't like thunderstorms.
they're not fried.
What are
The
they?
lightning is.
It just says green eggs and ham. I don't know.
I think because I always say fried green tomatoes because I'll always ask Alana when she says no to everything. Because I'll be like, what do you want to eat for lunch? And she'll say no. And I'll be like, do you want fried green tomatoes? And she's like, no. Then I'll be like, do you want $1 million? No.
Fried green tomatoes are delicious.
They are so
Yeah.
good.
I like a
There-
good tomat.
There's a construction going on at the house next door to us, and it started hailing, and so they had to pack up because they can't work in hail. And so you could tell it was like just when they got done, it like stopped and the sun was out and it was so bright. And you could hear one of the guys through our wall. He yelled, "I hate Ohio." And Marty and I looked at each other and we started laughing so hard. It was just so funny.
It's so just typical OHIO.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
All
But
seasons in one day.
Yep.
Yep.
nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But really,
yeah.
there's days where like I'd go to work because I have always, pretty much for the most part, have always had to go in crazy early. So like I wake up at 5:30 to get to work, and I leave my house preferably by 6:20 to get to work. Not that it takes that long to get there, but just in case in the wintertime, I always like to have extra time. But, like, there's days where, like, it's 20 degrees when I walk in, so I'm wearing, like, my scrubs, and then I have, like, a sweatshirt, and then I have my coat. And then, like, I did that the other day, and coming out, it was 70 degrees walking out of work. I was like, this is great! But also, like, I have so many coats I have to carry now. But it was beautiful out. I drove with my windows down. Loved it.
This was a really fun episode, so...
I needed it.
Yeah, much needed. So I hope you all enjoyed listening to us, and I hope that everyone is taking care of themselves.
Yep.
That concludes this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and don't let the muggles get you down.
Amazing! Just my voice!
Oh.
Katie did Harry Potato and it took a boomerang and she's just staring at it and the video's going like...
Oh my...
My cat is so perfect right now. I literally can't even handle him. Oh my god. I'm sorry. I had to say it. He's so adorable. Wee little face.
Are we ready?
She were wee little bits. Boss, you staying with mommy? He's staying.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Spatula, spatula.
Shout out to Ron Weasley. Okay, true friendship.